Hey there, so this video is on simplifying using exponents. It's a continuation of the division process, but we're basically going to be focusing on fractions and reviewing our exponent properties. So let's start with one that's fairly simple. Let's say we have a to the third power over a to the second power. Okay, so on this one, all we're doing is simplifying. We're just simplifying. So one of the ways to, as we're getting warmed up with this and kind of refreshing our memory on how to do these types of problems, one of the ways is to just write this out in expanded form. So we're going to start with a to the third power. Well, that means that you're multiplying a times a times a, right? And then on the bottom, or in your denominator, a squared is a times a. Now, to eliminate your a's, what you want to do is kind of break this up into three separate fractions. If you just focus on a over a, if you just have a fraction where the top number and the bottom number, or your numerator and denominator, are the same value, that is 1. So a over a is 1. A over a is 1. So what is 1 times 1? That's right, it's 1. And 1 times a is a. So the solution to this particular problem is simply a. All right, let's look at another one. Okay, so again, we're going to write this out in expanded form. So b to the fourth is b times b times b times b. And then b is just b. All right, so we can break this up again. It really doesn't matter how you line them up, as long as you line up, common variables there. So we've got a b over b, that's 1. And then you're left with b times 1 times b times b. So you're left with b cubed, and that's your solution. Okay, it literally is that simple, I promise. Now, if you look at these problems in terms of your exponent rules that you learned back in Math 1, eons ago, really these types of problems, if you have the same variable in the numerator and the denominator, you can also just subtract the exponents. So you can see we have a to the third over a squared. You can do 3 minus 2. What does that leave you with? That's right, a 1. So your solution for this one would just be a to the first power. Okay, so if we do the same process down here, you have b to the fourth over b to the first, because remember, anytime it's not written, it's understood as 1 with the exponents. All right, so 4 minus 1 leaves you with 3. So you can do that as well. The key to those types of problems is you've got to make sure that you're just multiplying in your numerator and your denominator. If you start throwing in plus signs and minus signs, the rules change. You're not going to have any problems like that today, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so let's look at another one where we have more variables. Let's say we have, and I'm going to throw in some numbers too. 12x to the fourth, y to the seventh, over 2x squared, y squared. Now, the key to ones like this, where you have numbers and more variables and lots of exponents, is to just take one part and do one part at a time. So let's just start right here with our numbers. 12 over 2. That's all I want you to focus on, just the 12 over 2. Well, what is 12 divided by 2? Hopefully, everyone said 6, or at least thought 6, okay? So, it is 6, just saying. Mark those out, we're done with them. Now, if you want to write this out in expanded form, you can, okay? Or you can also just subtract your exponents. So let's just look at our x's here. Forget the y's for just a second, and just look at your x's. So I have x to the fourth over x squared. 4 minus 2 is 2. Done. So now let's look at our y's. y to the 7th over y squared. 7 minus 2 is y to the 5th. Now, I had gone ahead and drawn this line because I wasn't sure if we were going to end up with anything in the denominator or not. In this case, we do not. So I can just rewrite this without my fraction line. It's really not a big deal. And there's your solution. Okay. Let's look at one like this. All right, so this one is set up just a little bit different at the beginning. The top part, your numerator here, you're not going to have to do any simplifying to yet. What we need to do is first look down here at the denominator. Hopefully you notice there's an exponent sitting outside the parentheses. So we're going to actually have to go and use one of our other exponent properties. This is a product to a power. And this is where you sort of distribute the exponent, okay? Be careful not to do 3 times 4. It's 3 to the 4th power, okay? So we distribute the exponent. So what I'm going to do is just rewrite my numerator. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 3 to the 4th power. And I'm also going to do a squared to the 4th power. Now this is where you do a power to a power, so you multiply your exponents. So 2 times 4 gives us 8. All right, now what you can do here is go to this 27, and let's rewrite that with a base of 3. So 3 to the what power gives you 27? Hopefully you said 3 to the 3rd power. Now, you don't have to do it that way. This is going to make your life just a little bit easier, okay, because this is where we have the same base and we can subtract our exponents and do all that fun stuff. You could also have done 3 to the 4th power and gotten that value and then done your division and simplifying fractions if that's how you'd prefer to work this out. For me, this is simpler, so this is what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to just go ahead and rewrite it to make life, again, a little easier. Now this problem is a little bit different in the case that the denominator exponents are larger than the numerator exponents. You're still going to follow the same process, but what I would suggest is instead of subtracting from the top, or subtracting top minus the bottom, since the numbers, the exponents are larger in the bottom, let's do the bottom minus the top. Now if you do that though, you've got to make sure that whatever you get goes in your denominator. So let me show you what I'm saying. That might have sounded a little weird. So if we have 3 to the 4th minus 3 to the 3rd, well that gives us an extra 3 in the denominator. So that's where your solution needs to go. All right, because 4 minus 3 is 1. Since the bigger number's in the bottom, your solution goes in the bottom. All right, same thing with our a's. We have a to the 8th, a to the 4th. If I do 8 minus 4, that leaves me with a to the 4th. Well, again, the larger number starts off in the bottom, so it stays in the bottom. Now, since I've eliminated everything up here, we don't want to leave this blank. Stick in a 1. And that's how you do this type of problem. Okay, so if you need to, go back and re-watch this one because this one has several different steps in it than the other ones did. Go ahead and re-watch this part of the video and make sure you understand this part. Now, pretty much all of the ones that you do are going to practice on today are going to be like one of these 4 examples. All right, so feel free to keep this video up throughout class as you're working through these problems and use these as a guide to solve your practice problems today. All right, so good luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow in class on Friday, and I hope you have a good day.